One of the biggest conundrums of smoking barbecue with an offset smoker is the timing for adding a split of wood. And if you're unsure what that timing looks like or why I'm on this merry-go-round, then this video is for you. We'll get back to the merry-go-round in just a minute. It's a common question that comes up about split timing, and it can be a little bit intimidating unless you're around somebody with a really high level of barbecue technique. It's just something that may be a little bit overwhelming to a beginner or a newcomer. And the most important thing we want to talk about today is exactly how to look at the splits that are burning to add new splits and recycle or regenerate. Dialing in the split timing is going to help you propel from rookie status to being able to give you a better chance of outputting great barbecue. Before we dive in, I'd like to offer you just a little bit of encouragement to where we're not worried about how even we're running in the pit and utilizing all the real estate. We're worried about the split generation and the split timing of recycling our coal bed. So if we understand that one of the most important aspects of cooking is actually not the protein and the recipes and the rubs, but it's the timing of the splits and the building of momentum of our fire and maintaining the momentum so we don't lose our fire or stall the fire. After all, this is a primitive style cooker and we're asking a lot out of it to cook great barbecue, considering the fact that we're using this piece of wood, which is going to be a different size, density, moisture, and we're going to have multiple, and throughout the cook we're going to have so many pieces of wood that go in there that not one piece is the same. But in order to understand how to cook, you just need to understand how to recycle and regenerate coals. Build momentum, maintain momentum, and keep it throughout the cook. With any well-designed and crafted offset smoker, you as the barbecue cook have such a great opportunity to put out outstanding barbecue. Cheaper made big box store offsets will be harder to control, but it's still very possible. What's absolutely bonkers is in the premium offset category, one smoker doesn't help you make better barbecue than the other. Yes, it's true. The cook controls the outcome more than the smoker. To be blatantly honest, I could put 4 premium offsets back here and put a single brisket in each one of them. I could smoke that brisket and then serve them to you, and you would not know which brisket came off which pit. That's because the influence of the cook is greater than the smoker. So it boils down to picking your team, pick your brand, and get to work on figuring out how to recycle and regenerate coals in your firebox. That's what we're after. So what's riding on the barbecue cook is the ability to handle the momentum and maintain the momentum throughout the cook, no matter what temperature I want in the chamber. For instance, I'm cooking some ribs right now. I wanted it to be 275. I'm going to look at my fire as far as building the style I want to be able to give me that. But the important part is the recycling and the regeneration of that wood. So when my wood burns down, I'm going to add new splits. I'm going to open up my air intake to let the fire catch. And once I see it's pretty steady, I'm going to bring the air intake back down. And now I'm going to control my fire. And then I'll take a peek in 30 or 45 minutes. I'll see that my splits have burned down. I'll chop them up into coals and I'll recycle back with new splits. That is the entire operation of an offset cook. Yes, you're worried about what you're doing in here, but really you're focused on right here. So for the purpose of this tutorial technique, we're going to show you from the very back and work our way forward. We've got our splits in here burning. They're almost burned down. I'm about to take the shovel and break them down. Now I'm just going to visually look and take a look inside the firebox and instinctually say, is that ready to break down into a coal or ember? You might go and you break them up and they break up really easy and they crumble pretty quick. That means you might have waited just a little too long. But then you might go in there with your shovel and start breaking them up and they don't break up at all. That means you need to let them burn a little bit longer. That's the first stage of the recycling process. If you've got a stubborn split that's taken too long to burn and it didn't burn equally with the rest of the splits, you can just remove it and put it to the back of the firebox. So we're starting at the very rear and we're going to chop up our coals. And we've got one that's a little bit stubborn. So we'll move that guy to the back. We're going to make sure our coals are nice and active. And then we're going to go ahead and add our splits. And that's the end of one cycle and the beginning of the next. If you've watched any of the videos on this channel, you know I've said over and over again that wood serves two purposes. The first purpose is once the wood ignites, it releases gases and aroma, and that is the flavor profile and the color of the protein, which is barbecue. We really don't want dirty smoke. For us to achieve clean smoke, that's going to require us having a really good coal bed, which brings us back to fire management. Recycling of coals to make sure we have a really nice ember bed, we have a quick ignite of the wood. That's going to prevent us having dirty smoke. A smoldering fire not only hinders your heat cycle, but it also gives you some dirty smoke, and that's just a culprit of having a really weak coal bed, or maybe too big a split, or it's too wet. I'm a big advocate of using splits that have no greater than 20% moisture. The second thing that the wood provides us, it's our heat, and this is the fuel source. Once we put it on the coal bed, it ignites, it ramps up temperature momentarily, we adjust our air intake, it gets back down to where it's a little bit more controllable, and it'll run steady for 30 or 45 minutes, depends on whatever smoker you have and the wood species you have. So for everything we're talking about here, this gap of adding a split until it becomes a coal or an ember 30, 45 minutes, an hour later, that's the cycle. That cycle is what we focus on. We really don't focus on anything in the chamber, what we're cooking. We focus on the cycle of adding a split, getting the proper air intake, allowing it to burn down, breaking it down to a coal and an ember, and restarting the process again with new splits. So now let's go back to the merry-go-round to figure out how that plays a part of our lesson. Now, how does the merry-go-round fit into the story? Well, it's a perfect example that was taught to me that I'm going to share with you. And that is the merry-go-round is just like the cycling of your wood in your firebox on an offset. You've got a beautiful coal bed right here. You're going to add wood, and we're going to go to our 3-split fire style, and we've got momentum. This merry-go-round represents the momentum. We don't want it to come to a stop, but we want it to continue always. Now, as you put new wood on, it may get a little hotter, a little bit more faster rate, but eventually it'll start to slow back down. And you're just gonna make sure that you adjust your air intake to have your nice gentle fire, and you're gonna see the wood burn down. And when you crunch it up and make it into coals, you know you're about to add more splits. And to continue the momentum, whatever you're doing is to make sure that this thing is moving like the merry-go-round. Very consistent. In essence, today's technique is really to take the focus off the barbecue pit, the rub, and the protein, and place it on the really important thing of cooking with an offset, and that is the regeneration and the recycling of the wood. From the time you put the splits on to the time they become coals, and that entire cycle, that is the backbone and the foundation of great barbecue. I encourage you to try it at home, keep cooking, and I'll see you in the next video.